don't have it.
Neither do the Steelers.
That's true.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the SCB Steelers Podcast presented by DEK Roofing Incorporated of South Florida. We are very pleased and proud to be part of the Variety Sports Network. And, of course, the show is originating from the Bradshaw Bourbon Studio.
Yeah, I already retweeted
Cheers,
it, dude.
Everyone.
Good evening, Burner.
Good evening.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Scarps had his work holiday party or something tonight. So
yeah, Scarps is going to come in full Scarps.
Yeah,
fuck you, Johnny.
Scarps
we've even got Melvin. Melvin is fresh off the plane, so to speak. This guy's been a world tourist, if you will. But Vinny's in too, so welcome to everybody.
Hi, Vinny.
Scarps may be Atlanta level drunk tonight.
Right. And he hasn't even stopped at a Circle K yet tonight. How about that? So yeah, it could be pretty interesting when he gets here. As you know, 1 week ago tonight. Oh, that's fantastic.
You liking it?
The Pittsburgh Steelers dropped their second straight home game to the New England Patriots, 21-18. And in the last 7 days since then, I think the only way to describe it is a shit show. We have had everything from guys lazy, guys ripping on each other in the locker room, former players ripping the current team, media members ripping everything, and it's on. And I am really fascinated to see what this team does coming out on Saturday against the Indianapolis Colts, because it to me it's going to speak volumes. But welcome in, Ben, Ian, and like I said, Scarps will be along eventually at some point, and boy, I can't wait for that. Yeah. Ian, what is your confidence level? I'm not even going to give you a scale. Just what's your confidence level this team is going to get to the postseason?
Playoffs? You want to talk about playoffs?
Thank you, Jim Mora.
Playoffs? Like zero. This team sucks. And maybe some of it's some regression to the mean, right? They were overperforming early in the year and winning games they probably shouldn't have. Granted, they just lost 2 games they probably shouldn't have at home, which I'd like to talk about later in the show.
Yeah.
This team is bad, and there are teams behind them that are actually good that are now getting hot. You know, Denver's gotten a little bit hot and actually looks surprisingly good. Buffalo is a very good team that's getting hot at the right time. They're going to get past. It would be a minor miracle if this team gets in the playoffs.
I think they get in.
So right now, as I have researched it, which has to say researched minimally, they literally could go 2-2 and still get in.
Yep.
And now some of that's going to break down based on percentages, AFC, because right now they're 5-4 against the AFC, which is decent, but there's a couple of teams 6-3, I think, against the AFC, but that's the thing. And Ben, are you in any hurry to see this team make the postseason only to get drilled in the first round?
Yeah, I want to make the postseason. I don't think there's any reason to. I'm not one of those guys who hopes the team will lose to get a better draft position or some stupid shit like that.
That's Browns level.
Yeah, that exactly. That's some Cleveland-esque behavior. No, I want them to go as far as they can. I don't think they'll go very far if they get in.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Obviously, the quarterback situation is not a good one. The defense has to take a lot of chances to continue to try and make plays, try and make things happen. Also not ideal, given the fact that they're pretty talented. And, some of it is going to come down to luck. Somebody said luck and turnovers earlier, freak.
Yeah, freak.
And he's right. And the Steelers were winning by virtue of winning the turnover differential for much of the year. And they don't have that guy at quarterback anymore who's not going to turn the ball over. They got a guy now who's going to throw
off his back foot
and take some chances. Well, yeah. I mean, Mitch has a lot of physical ability. You got to give him props. I mean, he can run. He's a threat to run. He's got a nice arm. He's got all that. His problem is his decision making, and it isn't always good.
Yeah.
He's trying to play the game like he's still a superstar in college. He was never a superstar in the NFL.
Well, and my next question was going to be, what's your confidence level that Mitch Trubisky can quarterback this team into the postseason? I mean, that might be actually
Slim.
less for
Slim.
Me than the team actually making it.
But I mean, let's just say hypothetically. I mean, I think they should have put Kenny on IR and used his roster spot because he's going to be out for a month anyway.
Yeah, they said 4 weeks right off the bat.
Yeah. So let's just say hypothetically he comes back. Hi, Jen. He comes back for the Week 18 game versus the Rats.
Mm-hmm.
And the Ravens bench all their starters because they've got their position sewn up. Nice hat, Scarps. Not as nice as mine, but
no.
Here's a guy that's been drinking since noon.
Sweet. It is Atlanta level Scarps.
Circle K Scarps is in the house, baby.
No, he's got a Yingling there. What the fuck was I saying? Okay, so let's just say hypothetically, the Steelers start Kenny. Try and get him a tune-up game before the playoffs because he's their starter, whatever.
Right.
And the Ravens bench all their players, and somehow the Steelers eke out a win Week 18. And we go into the playoffs, roll in. Steelers Nation is psyched up because the Steelers just won. And, of course, when the Steelers win, it's Super Bowl or bust. And if they lose, it's doom or fucking gloom. Fire everyone. Art Rooney should sell the team. He sucks too. Cut all the players. Trade all the guys that have got expensive contracts. Blah, 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 blah. Doom and gloom or Super Bowl or bust. Everything is cheery. So let's just say that happens. We roll into the playoffs.
Right.
How is Kenny gonna perform after being out for a month and then having one little tune-up game? I mean, I don't have a great deal of confidence. I haven't had a great deal of confidence in Kenny all season. That's not going to improve things.
No, I'm in the same position. I really am starting to think more along the lines of what you just said. They probably should have IR'd him and just left it at that and said, okay, all right, let's just roll with Mitch the rest of the year.
I don't know about that.
I mean,
there's no, as Scarps likes to put it, and I hate agreeing with him, but he says we have 3 backup quarterbacks and we have JV level coaching on offense. And I tend to agree with that. I mean, I look at
Thank you, Benjamin.
And I look at the effort the wide receivers are putting in and the skill level that the offensive line has and the inability of those coaches to mesh what they've got to the scheme that they're putting on the field. And I'm like, what the fuck? I just saw a street hooker in the biggest strip of the same type of hat.
There's a comment, man.
There's a tremendous amount to get into here with this team.
I wish this hat was musical. That would make it even better.
Yeah, like Renegade. I would like to welcome
Renegade.
Scarps in. And Scarps has been at an office party since sometime, I don't know, Wednesday.
Scarps should have this hat on, is what he should have.
He really should. He really should. Scarps, what's your confidence level the Pittsburgh Steelers will make the postseason?
As I said last week, and Casey has become Barry White. As I said last week, I really don't know if they're going to make the postseason. But I will say this: if they lose this weekend, that is not good, and even more so for the playoff hopes. If they lose this weekend, I think that is just it's just such a, I don't even know if this is a word. Solidation? No, that's definitely not
That's
a word.
not a word.
Yeah. That's fine. But it's just
validation.
It solidifies. If they lose this weekend, it solidifies that this team is not together. They're not cohesive.
Mm-hmm.
They're not any sort of bonded or anything like that. And
to me, it solidifies 1998, baby. Remember that year?
Yeah.
Oh,
You know,
yes.
I was young. I was about 11, but I do remember it.
11.
And, yeah,
I was
11.
12.
Mark,
go on.
Yeah,
fuck you guys.
I was already teaching.
But it's more of just like, you know, here's my biggest fear is that over the past couple weeks, they've had such poor body language and poor effort that I don't expect anything different this week. And again, damn you, Ian, in the comments. But the point is, this team is not mentally tough enough to overcome this type of stretch. And I wouldn't be surprised if they win this weekend. I wouldn't be surprised if they lose this weekend.
Yeah, that's fair. I think their leadership, their locker room leadership, frankly, is shit. And I base that upon the level of effort I see within certain position groups, the wide receivers first. Yeah. I mean, you know, Merrill Hodge went after the tight ends this week, and I'm like, okay, well, we always knew Freiermuth couldn't block. He tries, he just can't.
Right.
At least the effort's there. He's making an effort. He just sucks at it. You know, same with Hayward. He can't fucking block anybody. I mean, come on. If you need somebody blocked, it's starting at Washington, and that's the end of the list.
Yeah, and even he struggled last week.
A little bit. It happened. You know, I mean,
it happens to everybody. Yep,
it does. It does. I think that Belichick is the master of matchups, especially as a defensive coach, and he just made sure that the guy he had over there could take on Washington. You know, and give him props for it.
Yep.
But yeah, I look at the effort level within the position groups, and I'm not thrilled, in particular with wide receiver, and that just tells me that the leadership level there is shit.
Burner asks a question, and it's a fair one because it's been talked about. Will Deontay Johnson be a Pittsburgh Steeler next year, Ian?
Yeah, so I said this in the chat too because I wasn't sure if we'd actually get to it. But no, honestly, Omar Khan should call the Kansas City Chiefs and be like, hey, if you had Deontay Johnson on your team, you'd be running away with the number 1 seed right now. What are you really going to do with the 28th overall pick? How about we make a swap here? You get Deontay and you give us your first round pick. And like, that's a trade I would take in a heartbeat.
Yep.
Because
so would I.
We've seen,
I'd take 32 for him.
Yep.
You know,
seriously, like, I mean, if the Chiefs win it, I'd take their first round pick for Deontay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm tired of his shit.
Yes.
I kind of hope he's not going to be around next year.
And honestly, like, he could probably use a change of scenery too. This could be like a beneficial thing for both sides, that he was good when Ben was here. He can play well with an elite quarterback.
Right.
He's not suited to whatever the fuck we're running on offense right now. Burner, I hope you're not watching this with your son. Burner sent me a DM last week, and he had our podcast on his big screen TV, and his son was sitting next to him on the floor. So Burner, I hope you're not watching our show.
I can't handle that.
Isn't his son an infant?
Still, I learned some very creative language as a very young kid at Three River Stadium. So, yes, but at any rate, that's what they should do. Whether or not they will, I don't know. But we have seen number 1 receivers, AJ Brown, for example, Marquise Brown, get traded for later first round picks in the past. So I would not at all be opposed to calling up Kansas City and being like, hey, your receivers suck, and we have one in the last year of his deal that you can basically sign to an extension right now and do whatever you want with your cap.
You're sure as hell not going to re-up him.
Ian, do you allow any of your 12 children to watch this show?
Absolutely not. No.
Okay. I was just wondering.
It's half of that number, but no, they were surprised when I mentioned. I was like, "You can't watch it because we swear." They're like, "Dad, you cuss?" And I'm like, "Yeah, a lot."
Oh,
here, let me show you the clips.
Yeah.
So, guys, this week there's been no shortage of criticism by let me name a few. Ben Roethlisberger, Troy Polamalu, Chris Hoke. Let's see who
Hodge, ripped
Hodge, with the turtle comment about the tight ends blocking.
Trey Essex.
I think Kiesel, Trey Essex, and look, a lot of times what happens is the younger crowd looks at this and goes, "Oh, it's the boomers. Get off my lawn." Blah blah blah. I'm sorry,
These are dudes who know how to win.
I didn't really see or hear any comments that these guys made that I disagreed with.
I agree.
And we all know, God love him, Ben Roethlisberger can say things at times that gets a lot of people fired up and everything. And he talked about maybe the traditions dying and everything else. But I think he had a point. And then I thought Pat McAfee, who's from Pittsburgh, never played for the Steelers. But man, he had a really interesting little narrative today on his program about the generations are changing, and maybe this Steelers just isn't the same Steelers that your dad grew up with outside Three River Stadium, and people are struggling with that. And I'm not saying he's right 100%, but I think he's got a fair point in regards to that, because there are definitely, and we see it, guys, on social media, we see it in the people we talk to, there really is kind of a young Steelers group and an old Steelers group, and certainly one that kind of falls in the middle a little bit. But I think they see what's happening very differently at times. And Ian, go ahead.
No, I'm laughing because I tweeted like a year ago, and I keep like retweeting this, that you can definitely tell who has seen Kent Graham play quarterback and who has not.
Absolutely.
And really pick anyone you want from the time between Bradshaw and Roethlisberger. Graham, Jim Miller were some of the worst, but actually, I would argue Mike Tomczak might have been better than the other MT Mitch Trubisky that we have now. But nevertheless, you can tell who experienced that era and who basically their formative years have all been Ben Roethlisberger. The other point I was going to make tonight, which I'll make now, was that, there was a contingent of Steelers Twitter that thought that the 9-6-1 year was rock bottom, and the drama of Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell and Juju doing TikToks was the worst thing ever, and we needed to be drama free and get rid of these guys and bring in some likable players, and we'd be the most likable 8-8 team that ever existed. And now these people are losing their minds, like, why can't we win games? Well, like, fuck, you got rid of 3 all-pro players. Like, what do you expect?
We don't have the fucking talent level those teams have. These are the same people that thought that when Ben Roethlisberger retired, that the level of quarterback play would suddenly be improved because the guy that they put back there was mobile.
Right.
That doesn't. A guy being able to run fucking around does not account for accuracy or decision-making, which is the 2 most important characteristics a quarterback can have. Way more important than mobility. Come fucking on, people. My God.
Yeah.
And I tried arguing with them then. They were like, no. Imagine this offense with a quarterback who can move around wasn't a statue. Shut the fuck up.
Well, no, that's what Canada's offense needs. Got to have a mobile quarterback. Everything will work fine.
Especially a guy that went to the University of Pittsburgh.
Is that where he went?
Right.
And by the way, Stephen A. Smith, he went off
drunk tonight.
He went off at Roethlisberger. Okay. And
wait.
Well, hold on. Let me comment on this.
Wait. Stephen A. Smith.
Yes.
Who gives
ESPN
a fuck?
blowhard. But well, he's claims to be a Steelers fan. Anyway, he went after Ben.
He has the right to be wrong anytime he wants to.
Yeah, absolutely. But he said Ben was part of the problem because Ben stayed 3 years too long. You know what?
He's so full of shit.
Maybe he did. But you know who else I put that on?
A year too long.
That's on Mike Tomlin. That's on Kevin Colbert. That's on Art Rooney too. If you didn't think he was capable, then you should have had a conversation and gotten rid of him.
At the end of the day, that's on Art because
Mike and he didn't want to mess with the fans. And Mike and Kevin
were like, we should move on. It's time.
Yes, I agree.
Last year of his deal, and Ben didn't want to go. He thought he had more gas in the tank. Ben didn't want to retire when he did.
No, and
he took a nice pay cut to stick around his last season and play it out, have his little glory tour that last year, because he felt like the year before he kind of left a lot on the table because he got injured and whatever else. But
right. But also he's not the first, nor is he going to be the last guy that felt like he still had something left and kept playing. You see it all the time. Yeah,
Vinny, we do remember when they forced Troy to retire, and actually forcing Troy to retire was a good decision. Not just because of Troy's level of play, but also because he'd had significant concussions. Yeah. And Troy was never going to stop playing the way Troy played.
No.
All out, all the time. Yeah. And yes, Burner, you're right. Ben with a bum arm and 2 bad knees was still winning us games and was still a better quarterback than anybody we have on this roster now.
Scarpino, have you seen any criticism of this team this week that isn't warranted?
Have you seen any criticism of the team at all this week, Scarpino?
Sorry, I'm still finishing up Casey's Coast to Coast.
I tried to give you as long as I could.
Yeah, I know.
The fans are like, what's Scarpino doing? He hasn't added anything.
I appreciate you. This is uncharted territory for the Steelers, and I feel like I've been saying that for so many years on the show. But the quarterback who wasn't the best leader and wasn't the best teammate is even chiming in and saying that is the Steelers' way done. Ooh, and part of me is like, okay, I saw up close that again, Ben wasn't the best leader or wasn't the best, teammate, but he won shit, and he won shit when it mattered, and he was the last connection between that group that won something and didn't win anything. So, for me, like, for those that are like, oh, Ben's just whatever, I don't agree with that, because I'm going to tell you right now, Ben off the couch right now would have beaten the Arizona Cardinals, right? I
agree.
He probably would have beaten the New England Patriots. So
with no practice.
Right. Yes. Right. And so I look at this team right now, and I look at them as that they're just so desperate for anything. Yeah. They're desperate for a spark. They're desperate for some fire. And you know what? I don't give a shit how many, speeches or whatever Mike Tomlin does. There isn't enough fire or spark in that locker room to make them do anything. And that is where Mike Tomlin has fallen short in these recent years, because, again,
is that Tomlin or is that bad drafting? I mean,
I'll let Ryan finish, but I have a point too. After
I just want to say this real quick. Is that, like, I'm a huge Kevin Colbert supporter. He was a mentor of mine, as was Mike Tomlin.
Kevin was awesome.
As was
20 plus years.
As was Mike Tomlin, and I always want to be fair to them, but also want to put that bias aside. And I want to say this: they've always portrayed it as it's a three-headed monster that attacks it. Tomlin, Colbert, and Rooney, and Art the second. So I have no idea who picked who. Okay, but I look at, like, Najee, probably a Tomlin pick. Bell cow, fucking run the fucking wheels off of him, yada yada yada. But, like, I don't know who said pick Kenny Pickett. I have no idea. I have no clue whether that was all of them, one of them, two of the three, because Meatloaf said 2 out of 3 ain't bad. But the point is, get back to the point, I have no point, because this team sucks. They're weak mentally and physically. No, just
he lost his point there.
Yeah, I did lose my point, but I have no idea who drafted whom, and I can't critique the team too much because of that, because I don't know who drafted who.
I think it's fair to say that in particular with Kevin's last draft that Mike Tomlin had a great deal of – he had more influence than he did in previous years. Okay?
What do you base that on?
Just things I'm told.
Wow.
Basically this is a – it was a kind of a Kevin going, this is my last one, and you're going to have to live with these guys after I'm gone. So what do you think? Let's give that a little more weight. And then let's talk about what the scouts have put together and what the reports are and what my guys' opinions are of these players. Let's talk about the coaches' opinions of these players, and let's come together and let's try and figure this out. But excuse me, but Mike, you got to live with these guys after I'm gone. I'm going to be gone in 2 months. What do you think? What are your feelings? Let's talk about that. So I can see where that's fair. But back to the point I was making before, the failure of locker room leadership, and as Ryan pointed out, and I think accurately, the lack of desire in that locker room, the lack of desire along that sideline is evident. And you can't coach that, man. Guys have either got it or they don't. That's not something you can, in my opinion, at that age, that is not something you can develop. You have it or you don't. If you were just a star, okay, I'll give you an example. Martavis Bryant. When he was playing in college, he acknowledged it. He's like, I would just screw around all week, and I would show up on Saturday, and I would ball out.
Yeah.
Because I was
Martavis.
He could. Yeah. And I could. And I didn't have to work at it. And we got some guys, as Minka pointed out this week, that are kind of doing the same thing. They're just figuring they can just show up on Sundays, put on the black and gold, and they're going to ball out. And they don't have to work hard at their game. Well, that's a problem. And I don't recall who I was talking to before about psych evaluations, but these guys get an awful lot of coaching pre-combine before those interviews. They're told what to say and who to say it to, with what tone of voice and everything else. There are mock interviews. There are all kinds of things going on. So in fairness, they are, they can hoodwink coaching staffs, right? But yes, the Steelers may have faltered there and picked some guys that don't have the necessary mental traits, emotional traits to surpass whatever hardships they need to get past. In this particular case, you got bad coaching on offense and some other challenges, but they got to get past those things. And they didn't pick guys or they valued physical prowess over mental toughness. One of the two. Either way, it's a draft failure.
Is it drafting or is it the guys they signed in free agency?
Well, I mean, did they sign DJ in free agency? Did they sign Pickens in free agency?
Artist.
The guys they signed in free agency, I mean, they seem okay. I mean, Allen Robinson's not lighting the world on fire, but he's not any kind of a problem in terms of effort. The guy blocks hard. He works hard. Actually, he's not a very good blocker, but he works hard at what he's doing.
To what Matt's saying here, sounds like you're only talking about Pickens and Deontay.
I'm talking about a number of guys.
That's the low hanging fruit because they were so easy to spot on the field as doing nothing. I don't think they're the only ones.
As much as I hate to say this, because I was a huge fan of him coming out in the draft, I think you have to put DeMarvin Leal in that category because the dude just cannot seem to get a helmet.
He can't even get a helmet now,
and he can't get snaps. And there's a reason that guys don't get snaps, right? It's not because they're trying to play Cam Hayward 90% of the time. They would like to put Cam on a rotation, I think, especially coming off an injury, being an older guy. But if a guy isn't performing in practice or, isn't putting in the level of effort, it's going to show in his snap count. And you look at the guys whose snap counts have gone down. I mean, they've named Keanu Benton the starter at nose tackle for good reason, because that kid can play. But I was a big fan of Leal's game coming out, but he just hasn't it just hasn't translated into the pros. And I don't know if it's effort or if it's that he's like a tweener body and can't fit at defensive end or outside linebacker.
But his rookie year, weren't you really inspired by that play, by that level of play? I thought he was going to fill out a little bit and become a really nice 5-tech.
Yeah.
I mean, even at the beginning of this year, I thought there was like the steps were all positive, and then it was just nothing.
Yeah.
You know?
I have a follow-up point on what
Yeah.
Ben said too. And I know we've talked about this on our SCB Slack a little bit too, that this is my personal feeling. So take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But I think Mike Tomlin is Ben made some points about what coaching can do versus what players can do. I think Mike Tomlin as a coach, when he came into the league, was like 38 years old. He had some players in the locker room who were only a couple years younger than him, but he came into a team that had really strong veteran leadership and guys in the locker room that knew how to be professionals and that would teach the young guys how to be professionals, and that would get passed on. And he didn't have to be that hard-ass coach that was like, you need to do 45 minutes of film study a day. You will eat lunch at this time. You will lift weights at this time.
He didn't have to be Belichick.
Exactly. He didn't, or Coughlin or whoever else, right?
Another good one.
He didn't have to be that guy. So as time went on, Tomlin never really became that guy. He kind of always let the veterans run the locker room. And for better or worse as it's played out, but as those veteran guys retired, that didn't get passed on as much. There's a couple guys that get it, but it's not a strong enough voice in the locker room to carry it through. And I think Tomlin is a really good coach of a veteran team. But right now, someone posted the like average ages of offenses and defenses on Twitter the other day. And like, we have the youngest offense in the league by average age and the second oldest defense. And it's like, you see the guys on defense that get it, the Cams, the TJs, the Minkas, even JPJ, I think, kind of gets it because he knows the tradition of the team.
Right.
But on offense, they don't seem like they get it at all. None of them, right? Najee's doing Zoom calls about running back salaries. He's outperformed, head and shoulders by Jalen Warren. You've got quarterbacks that are 3 backup level quarterbacks. You got wide receivers that look like they just don't care. You've got tight ends that are like 2 turtles humping each other. You've got offensive linemen that can't figure out who to block where and when. And, a rookie who's better than both tackles at their respective positions. And Broderick is still learning. He's going to make mistakes, but like, he's a rookie. You expect that, right? But he's still better than both of those guys. You've got a center who should be one of the leaders of your team who just sucks ass and can't even snap the ball back to his quarterback. But like, Tomlin doesn't seem like he does well with a young team. It seems like he needs an environment with a veteran presence. And I think sorry, Ryan, one last thing, but to get to Ben's point about like, some of it's on the players and but not much is on coaching.
I don't know about not much.
Tomlin's style of coaching, I think, doesn't do well with a very young team.
Incredibly valid.
Those veteran leaders.
Yep.
Melvin just made a really good point, and he's correct. Yeah. Mike Tomlin's first year, he said that he was so hard on the team that they didn't go as far as they could have because he coached them too hard. And so he backed off his second year and they won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's true. But that team had so many strong veteran leaders. I mean, just look across the board, right? You had on offense, you had Bettis, you had not Faneca. Faneca was gone by that point. But I mean, you had Bettis, you had Justin Hartwig at center who had been around the league. Max Starks at tackle who had been around for a while. Even
Max Starks,
Hines Ward. Yeah,
Hines.
And then the whole
Hines. Yeah. I mean, my God, that's what we need in the wide receiver room right now is a Hines Ward.
Well, I want to get Scarp's comments, but
Ryan had a point. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
Yeah, and I want to bring it back to something related to these players too. Go ahead, Scarps.
No, I just think that I'm never going to be the person that says that Tomlin won with Cowher's players, but Tomlin inherited a team that had a lot of veteran leadership. I mean, that you cannot deny that. No. And as we've all talked about, that first training camp with Tomlin, he tried to gas him at training camp, and they were all like, "What the fuck are you doing, bro?" We've won we've won it all with this group. Like, why are you like, and I get it that he's trying to establish himself, but
of course,
on the other end of it, this is really the first 2 years that he's been able to establish himself without Ben. And last year 9-8, no playoffs. This year 7-6. We'll see what happens. But I'll tell you this: the offense is fucking terrible, and the defense is not that much better. They're opportunistic because they get turnovers, but like this defense to me isn't great, and it should. And I look at this.
I understand what you're saying, Ryan, and I don't disagree with you in terms of the amount of yards they give up. However, they're coached to be very aggressive, which is why they get gashed.
Well, so we could talk about this all night, but did they let the wrong coordinator go?
Fuck yes, they did.
Yeah.
By the same token, they're but to this point,
I'm just saying.
To this point, they are the Pittsburgh Steelers. When are they ever going to fire a coordinator with 2 years left on his deal? Because not because he did a bad job, but because they're losing a coach who's really fucking good and could do the job better. They don't do that. That's like a Jerry Jones kind of a move. And sometimes I wish there was a little more Jerry in Art, but Art is never going to fucking do that. He's never going to say, hey, we made a commitment to this guy for 3 years, and it's been a year, and he hasn't done a bad job. But by the same token, we got this other guy, and we really like him better. So I've decided I'm going to divorce my wife and go and take the second wife because she's better and I like her better. They just don't do that. They're the Pittsburgh Steelers. It just isn't gonna. It's not gonna happen.
One of the things I want to go back to is the Steelers clearly made an effort to start drafting higher personality guys, better personality guys. Right after the whole streak of like Martavis and some of those other questionable, struggling characters. Sometimes you just need a dog. You need a guy that's on the edge a little bit, and I don't know that we have that guy. I
need a Joey Porter there someplace.
Yeah. You need that kind of guy, and I just don't think we have him.
Or James Harrison. I mean, even when he said nothing, he said very little. The way that guy played, Jesus.
There was a running joke that the Steelers' right outside linebacker position was reserved for the clinically insane because you had
Greg Lloyd,
Greg Lloyd, Gilden,
you had
Porter,
oh my God.
Gilden, Porter, and Harrison. So and that's not to take away from TJ and Highsmith, but they don't play with that same insanity that those guys did.
TJ's pretty relentless. He just isn't. He just doesn't seem like he's that shit crazy.
They just play with concussions and don't get taken out of the game.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, guys, he was
evaluated by an independent doctor, dude. That's on the doctor.
Yeah, I mean that was one hell of a knee right to the freaking forehead.
Okay, so that's fine. He was evaluated by the independent doctor.
Yep.
TJ Watt is the franchise, whether or not you believe that.
Oh, he is.
Like, do you not want him to not be safe? Because he put on a fucking dark visor, it started sniffing smelling salts, and then all of a sudden today he's cleared to play on Saturday. Why would he be cleared to play on Saturday? Oh, maybe because
he played on Thursday and he had
we have to fucking win on Saturday. No big deal.
No
big deal.
I honestly think that if he had been concussed on Sunday as opposed to being concussed on Thursday, he'd be taking a week off.
Yeah.
What saved his ass was having an extra couple of days between games this week. That saved him.
Yeah, and Highsmith, by the way, we were told left that game on Thursday night with a neck injury, and it turns out he too was in protocol.
He cleared protocol today.
Hey, real quick. The Las Vegas Raiders have 49 points right now. I just wanted to. They're up 49-7 at home against the LA Chargers.
One of my just got shut out.
Actually, the Chargers fucking suck. I'm sorry, Justin Herbert. How can you have a quarterback?
He's literally out for the year, but that's fine.
Is he? I didn't know that. Is he?
Yes.
Okay, my mistake.
And
All right.
Keenan Allen's. I mean,
regardless,
they have a
when
ton
he
of
was
injuries. But
when
I'm
he
just
was
saying,
fucking healthy, they weren't winning. They must be the most poorly coached team in the fucking NFL.
Oh,
my
yes,
God.
Brandon Staley, yeah, Brandon
I'll
Staley
be stunned
sucks.
if he's not fired by tomorrow morning.
My God, 49-7. You know what sucks about this? I have a couple of friends who are Raiders fans, and they're almost, it's just like they're a tiny step down below Cowboys fans in terms of being obnoxious. I'm going to get to hear about this shit all week long.
Yeah.
God damn. And an extra 2 days because it's a Thursday night game. My fucking God.
Right. Well,
the football gods sometimes are not kind.
49 points. I did not see that coming. I mean, do you need further proof that this league is week to week? I mean, they lose 3-0 at home, and now they're 49 points.
I mean,
unbelievable.
It would take us 3 weeks to score 49 points, but so be it.
49 points.
But only 3 weeks.
I can dream.
It's 55 now, according to Johnny. Hey, fuck you, Johnny.
Oh,
hey, Johnny, thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate the engagement. Just saying.
Yeah. Johnny, kiss my ass.
I can feel the love between Ben and his friends. This week with the Colts, we already learned Jonathan Taylor is not going to play at running back, so I believe that we'll see some Zach Moss. And he's
I'm
nice.
So happy about that.
Yeah,
he's the Steelers are good against the run anyway, but still.
Well, I'll tell you what is decent is the Colts offense is not terrible. They're eighth in the league overall.
Yeah.
And look, Minshew, I've never really viewed Minshew in the last couple of years as your traditional backup. I think he's a guy that's kind of like that 33rd, 34th best QB in the league type. He can play pretty well sometimes.
Think he's better than that. He's in the top 32.
Yeah, he might be.
He just can't find a starter's gig. Everybody in that bottom tier is trying to look for the young guy to try and establish a younger guy.
Yeah,
to be the guy for the future. Most teams don't go the route of the Buccaneers where they sign a Baker Mayfield and try and prove that the Browns were wrong. Most of those teams just go, well, we need to draft a guy.
Right.
And they stay in that position because they draft poorly.
Yeah. Minshew is, as Berner pointed out in the chat, not only better than anyone we have currently. If the Steelers signed him in free agency and let Mitch walk away, he would be an instant folk hero here just for his mustache.
Absolutely.
Yinzers would love him. If we had signed Gardner Minshew instead of Mitch Trubisky, Yinzers would have loved him.
I think we should sign Minshew, or we should sign fucking Baker, or I don't know. I can think of a handful of guys we should start and let Trubisky fucking walk because he's overpaid.
Yeah, he's gone. Rudy should be gone.
I'm not sold on the fact that Trubisky's gone. I don't think he is.
Really?
It's funny.
I think they like him. I mean, how well did he play last week?
Trubisky
played like no.
I mean, he had one pick. He should have had 3 picks.
Exactly. And Tomlin said he got better as the game wore on, and criticized the defense. Listen. I get the criticism of the defense because honestly, they're a more buttoned up unit than the offense, and so Tomlin probably has higher expectations of the defense. But by the same token, not to acknowledge the offensive struggles. What the fuck, Mike? Come on.
Yeah. I don't know what the fuck.
Fuck you, Johnny. That is fucking sacrilege. My God.
Okay.
Sacrilege.
I'm gonna
sacrilege.
Let it go. I'm gonna let this go. Ben, do your thing.
I'm done.
I would say that for Tomlin to be like, oh, Mitch got better as the game went on. I don't disagree with what he's saying because he had a touchdown, he had a rushing touchdown, but like I want to be clear that the Patriots are fucking dog shit. Like and I don't think Belichick isn't tanking. He's not tanking.
No.
And he will be a head coach somewhere next year.
Yes, he will.
Right? Because he wants Shula's record. But the fact that like they came out so flat once again against Bailey Zappi or Bailey Zappa or Bailey Zapp whatever. I don't really
Frank
know the
Zappi?
pronunciation. Yeah, Frank Zappa and the Mothers were at the best place around. # Deep Purple, Machine Head, smoke on the water. But the point is, somebody please TikTok that. I need that in my life. But the point is,
Aaron's not here. We got to get him on it.
The point is, they are just constantly so flat out the gate. It's ridiculous. And I'm not saying they have to come out 7-0 every time, but
no,
a 0-0, this team, based on how they perform on offense, a 0-0 after each team has a possession is a win for me. I'm just all right, 0-0. It's better than 0-3 or 0-7. And they're just, oh my God, they're so flat.
Do you guys, Ian, do you blame George Pickens for being pissed off?
No, not at all. If you were the physical alien that is George Pickens that can make these kind of plays and got 4 targets, none of which were deeper than 5 yards down the field, he has a right to be angry. Just throw up the damn ball to him. They should be throwing 4 go routes to George Pickens every game at a minimum, just to see what the fuck happens. I don't know.
Get a pass interference.
It can't be worse, right?
Right.
Right. And they do
and if it's a pick, it might as well be a punt, right?
I have railed about this for years, and this goes to drafting. This goes to offensive play calling, offensive play design, all that stuff. The teams that are successful, like the 49ers, let's say, scheme plays to put their players in positions to be successful. But also, when you draft players, you can't just go out and draft dudes anymore, right? And I think towards the end, Kevin Colbert was kind of just I'm going to just draft dudes, right?
Yeah.
You either have to draft guys that fit the system you want to run, which is something the 49ers actually for a while did pretty well at running back because they had that revolving door of anyone can play running back for the 49ers, and found Eli Mitchell in the 6th round, the year we picked Najee Harris in the 1st round. So you either have to find guys that fit your scheme, or you adapt your scheme to fit the guys you have. And we have done neither. We've just gone out and drafted dudes and been here's our scheme, come in and try and run it, right? Which is why Jaylen Warren's been better than Najee Harris, because we haven't put together a scheme to accentuate Najee's talents. And same with the wide receivers. It's let's throw go balls to Deontay Johnson, whose hands are inconsistent and he's good at getting separation in tight spaces, but we're going to send him on a go route where he's got to go get a jump ball, and he's 5'10", and we're going to have George Pickens, who's 6'2", run these short routes.
Can jump out of the gym, who's long.
Yeah, exactly, and has these long ass arms. It's stupid. They're just I don't know. They're stupid. It's so maddening. And to go back to what Ben Roethlisberger said on his podcast, and then what McAfee said on his show, McAfee made the point of they've got these plays that have the same names as they did in the 1990s so that the veterans can come back and talk to the current guys. Yeah, they're pretty much running the same damn offense. I was at the Cardinals game, and we watched them warm up 3 times because of the rain delays. And one of the dudes sitting next to me was they've been doing the same damn warm up since the 1990s. And I was like, shit, you're right. They do the same friggin' thing before every game since I've been going to games since I was 5 years old in 1991. It's the same routine. They do the same thing, they do the same warm up. They run the same things. They're going to come out. They're going to run their little short yardage goal line. Then they're going to go kick a field goal. Then they're going to go into, they're going to go into the locker room, and it's the same thing on offense, right? They basically haven't changed the offense. I mean, there's been some tweaks.
Yeah, but McAfee made a really interesting point. He said the Steelers are basically the college football equivalent in the NFL. They're the team where the guys from the old days can walk into the building, no problem. they can talk to the current players because the terminology hasn't changed much, especially defensively. He made a lot of very valid points on it. And I'm not suggesting that you got to completely throw all that out the window by any stretch. But
real quickly, I just want to respond to one point that Ian made, that George Pickens had a right to be angry. He doesn't. This thing is bigger. Benjamin. This thing is bigger than one fucking guy getting opportunities to score, to rack up stats. It's about the team. He doesn't have a right to be fucking angry. That's insolent fucking behavior, and he should man up and make suggestions. I'm not saying he shouldn't speak up to the coaches, to his quarterback, to the guys in the building. Should he be talking to the fucking media about it? No, he shouldn't. He should shut the fuck up.
I agree with that, but I think too that when you have that level of talent and you can help the team win, and you're not being given the opportunity to help them win.
But show me a wide receiver who played unselfishly when he was that talented ever. Not named Larry Fitzgerald.
So Rice.
Okay.
All right, fine. Those two. That's it. The end. End of list.
No, I think here it is. I think Pickens has every right to be frustrated, but I can also say, don't act like an asshole.
Well, yeah. I would also say too, get your fucking feet in bounds against the Titans, and we have a fucking 2-score victory for once in fucking every.
Look at how much fucking space he had. All he did was drag his toe.
And
asshole.
I'm going to say this. I don't give a shit. I think George Pickens is the most overhyped Steeler of my lifetime. He has done minimal, and I don't give a shit who the quarterback is.
Hey, what about catch of the week, Ryan?
Yes, exactly. The fucking guy has catch of the week in week 3. Oh, it's catch of the year. It's catch of the. Shut the fuck up. I'm being real right now. Like none of that shit matters. I don't give a shit how many fucking fantastic catches he has. He's a loser. He is. All of this whole fucking team is a bunch of losers that have never won anything. And you know what? All the fans of this team who are a bunch of losers comment on what Roethlisberger said, even though Roethlisberger was a winner, regardless of how you fucking paint him. Whatever paint you want to paint the barn red, paint the barn blue. I don't give a shit. Bottom line is, nobody on this team has ever won anything. And George Pickens could bitch all he wants, but he is nothing more than a catch of the week guy right now. His routes are shit. He fucking can't get his feet in, and I don't care what anyone says.
Huh?
Yeah. Okay, Matt. Okay, Matt Smith. He's the best wide receiver since we ever had since AB. What did AB?
Here's the problem. Matt Smith. We don't really know how good he can be.
And hey, Matt Smith.
Never gets the chance.
And hey, Matt Smith. What did AB ever fucking win? I just want to know. What did AB ever win?
He won a Super Bowl.
Did he win it with us?
Nope.
Did he win it with us? Did he win it with us?
He won a bunch of individual offers.
Did he win it with us?
He went to the Raiders and.
All right, Ryan.
Or did he sell his soul to get rid of us and then get rid of the Raiders and then go play with the GOAT? And then when he played with the GOAT, and then when he played with the GOAT. Hey, Matt Smith, you listen to me. Look into the camera, baby. Matt Smith. Dude. Matt Smith.
Scarps has had some drinks.
Yeah, I did. Hey, Matt Smith.
We probably shouldn't push Ryan's buttons.
That's true.
I'm just saying.
Hey, Ryan.
Just
the
saying.
last playoff game
what
we
did he
won.
Do? He sold his soul to get to the GOAT, and then he shit on the GOAT.
Go ahead, Ian. I know where you're going.
The last playoff game that this team has won.
Melvin.
Oh my god!
All right, Melvin stole the show. I can't even make my point.
Self-taught, no lessons, Pop.
Those of you listening to the show,
oh my god,
Melvin just said, "Okay, Scarps is the drunk uncle at the wedding with the mic."
Whatever, I don't give a shit. That's fine. Call me whatever you want, but AB didn't win shit with this team.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right. I will make this point then. The last playoff game that we won, we had a third down with 2 minutes left in the game, and we threw the ball Who made the catch that got the first down that ended that game in Kansas City?
What?
The last playoff game this team won. Who made the catch that sealed the game?
Xavier Grimble.
It was AB.
AB.
It was AB.
Oh, so cool.
It was
awesome.
It was on the sideline, and people were bitching that he went out of bounds. But I was like, there was a minute 50 left, and Kansas City didn't have any timeouts, so we just kneeled it out after that. But yeah, it was AB
was amazing until he lost his mind.
AB
was an incredible physical talent who was also a selfish fucking asshole and still is.
AB actually Matt Smith?
No. He's not. Matt Smith can type in complete sentences. It is definitely not AB.
That's fair.
Right.
That's fair.
That's right.
All right.
We actually do. My bad. We do know who Matt Smith is. I apologize.
Yeah.
We do?
We do.
I don't.
It's Kenny Pickett.
We love all of you in the chat. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you all for joining us. Yes. Even those of you who push Scarp's buttons and then there are lovely comments afterwards, including Scarp's own comments, and the comments on the chat are fucking priceless. Oh my God.
You guys brought the A games tonight.
Woo!
That was
so
good.
Steelers who brought about their C game. But this show's gone off the rails. Can I make a point? I know I've talked a lot, but
go ahead.
All right. So this is something that I've been annoyed by, and then I actually looked up the stats. I'm like, holy shit. Yeah. So at Heinz Field, quote unquote, the Pittsburgh Steelers were 130, 51, and 2. So they had like a 71% winning percentage when it was Heinz Field.
I knew we were gonna get
Since the name has changed to Acrisure Stadium, they are 8-8 at home, which is a 50% winning percentage. So that's like 21% lower. They suck at home. Like they just lost 2 games to 2-win teams at home. Like, remember when it was hard to win at Heinz Field? When, and I'm not saying it's an Acrisure Stadium thing. I know there was a quarterback change.
I think it's all about you, Ian. Weren't you there? It's pretty much your fault.
Yeah. No, I wasn't at the Patriots game.
Were you not cheering loud enough?
I was at the Cardinals game. I wasn't at the Patriots
thinking you
game.
weren't cheering loud
enough. We
won
in my appearance this year, so that's not on
true.
Me.
That's true. But the last 2 years, they have stunk at home. They have been really bad. And
Ian's fault.
Part of it, I think, and I'm just going to throw this out there, is the fans rightfully have been booing the shit out of this team because they suck so bad. Like, you could hear it on TV on Thursday night against the Patriots. Pretty much the whole first half, they were getting booed off the field on offense.
Yep.
And they're actually better on the road the last 2 years. The last 2 years, they're 8-6 on the road and 8-8 at home.
Well,
which, granted, they could go lose 2 road games and then be 8-8.
And remember too that those fans that go to those road games, unlike what the networks say, oh, the Steelers travel well. No, those aren't people traveling. Those are people that live in those areas and want to go see the Steelers, and they're fired up whether we're winning or losing. They don't care. So, Ian, your point is on point.
The Steelers freak. Steelers freak. I would just like to point out that Styx is a Chicago band, not even a fucking Pittsburgh band.
I
have no idea how this shit started.
With 10 minutes left in that game. Holy shit!
And the Steelers travel well on the road. Yeah, like you said, the Steelers travel well on the road because the Steelers fans live in other states. It's that simple. The Steelers actually travel better on the road than they do at home.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, and Ian can speak to this better than me.
What are you talking about?
This year, the away fans at Steelers games this year has been unbelievable.
So
not in a good way.
Anytime Steelers fans are like, oh, we're going to take over that stadium. Yeah, you take over road stadiums better than you do home stadiums, which is weird to me.
Okay, it's fair. That's, you know, like you have games like the 49ers game. That shit was fucking embarrassing.
Yeah.
That was fucking embarrassing.
Yeah.
Steelers fans selling their tickets for a home opener so the 49ers can come in and take over. What kind of fucking bullshit was that?
Yeah, well,
and that was like, that kind of set the tone for the season. Not going to lie. That was some bullshit.
It was. That was bad. But I think, I don't know. And maybe it gets back to the whole point of like, this team doesn't have dudes that care.
West Coast dude. Huh?
Or
didn't know that.
Yeah, he's from Vegas. He said that before on the chat.
Oh, I don't read all the chat comments. I mean, I read a lot of them. Some of them are so goddamn funny. I got to stop and I miss some stuff.
But it's no. But I think the broader point though is like that this team is bad at home, but yeah, they're getting booed by the fans, but they fucking deserve it because they suck. Like, you got to come out with some effort and show that you care when you're playing in front of your home fans. You can't go spot the 2-win New England Patriots 3 touchdowns in the first half.
Right.
Like,
Right.
And come out and put up 3 points on the board. Like, you just can't do that shit. And it's frustrating. And I completely understand why the home fans are pissed and why they're booing. Like, if I would have been there, I would have been booing too. They were horrible. And it's reflective of the effort. But I mean, is it kind of this repeating cycle that like the team sucks, the fans boo them, then they feel bad about themselves, so they suck more, then they get booed more, and it's just it's these compounding mistakes that happen. And I'm not saying that the fans are not justified to boo because this team sucks. They deserve to get booed.
Yeah.
But maybe that's also why they play better on the road than at home, because it's demoralizing to get booed by your home fans.
Well,
but maybe they should come out and fucking play better too. Like,
it's fascinating to me. They come out during the introductions, like house on fire, and then all of a sudden it's just like nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's frustrating.
Melvin, we're not 80s level sucking, Melvin.
No, I don't think we're there.
Don't even speak that shit out into the universe, please.
I don't think we're there, but I think
that was awful.
We could be.
So Aiden O'Connell tonight has 241 passing yards and 4 passing touchdowns. Is that because the Raiders are so much better at scheme and coaching than the Steelers?
Oh, I'm just saying.
I think what you're saying is he's got better stats than Kenny Pickett.
No, what I'm saying straight up is the Steelers set the bar pretty low for the way they scheme the fucking offense. It's ridiculous. Okay.
Well,
and I'm not going to make excuses for our players who are not good. I'm sorry. As a group, they're just not that talented. And some of them don't play fucking hard. But the Steelers scheme sucks straight up. It is bullshit. To not try to make some kind of enhancements to that scheme over the last 3 weeks. Come on, man. Really? You could have installed something better than this. Just like a handful of something. Some package is a little bit better than the fucking bullshit you put out every week. No. Come on.
Why do that when you could just make Canada the scapegoat the rest of 2023?
Yeah, because Canada does suck.
And that's sad. Sad but true. It is. I don't know about you guys, but I realize the talent and everything else too. But I watch a team like San Francisco and some of these other offenses, and it's just I get jealous, and it's not even because they are successful. It's because they're at least trying to be innovative. They're trying to be creative. They're trying to here's something, get the ball into the hands of their best players. I just watch these games and I think, oh my God. And that, to me, that's where I just get more and more frustrated with this. But I mean, look, they've had a little mini bye here. The Colts are on a 5-day rest. We're on a 9-day rest. I don't see any excuses this week. None.
We didn't have an excuse last week or the week before.
No, I know we did. I know we didn't. And
this team has been out of excuses for 3 weeks.
But I'll tell you what, I think Ian's point about home and away, if we come out and play well and win this game on Saturday, that gives even more credibility to that argument.
This team is just so, as Ryan pointed out earlier in the podcast, they're so unpredictable. You know, I wouldn't be shocked if they came out and won this game by 20. And I also wouldn't be shocked if they came out and got blown out by 30.
Right.
So when's the last time they won a game by 20? Like that would actually.
No, see, I would be shocked. Yeah.
No, I wouldn't be shocked only because this team isn't that good. The team they're playing, the Colts.
They're
Not to say
not,
the Steelers are good, but
they're not.
the team that they're playing is just just not that
But they're
good.
in a shit division. They still have playoff opportunities, just like we do.
I love how you all say they're in a shit division. They're the same fucking record as we do. And
I'm not talking about record. I'm saying division. Because
how is that a shit division?
Well, because you've got a team in Jacksonville that's lost 2 in a row now and is sitting 1 game ahead, I think, of Houston.
If the Steelers were in the same division, would you call it a shit division or would you call it a competitive division? I'm just being.
Well, no, Ryan, I wouldn't call it competitive because look at you got Cleveland at 8-5, you got Cincinnati at 7. 7-6 is the bottom of the barrel in the North. I mean, in the AFC South, you still got Tennessee's got 4 wins, 5 wins?
No.
So,
6 and 7.
What?
I thought Tennessee
they were 4-8 going into that Miami game, weren't they?
All right, whatever. Okay, I've had drinks. The point is, why are we downing the Colts to?
I'm not downing them.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
saying they got
All I'm saying is it's a battle of 2 mediocre teams, and one of them may rise to the occasion.
As the kids say, they're mid.
May not. It could also be a 6-3 game. Who fucking knows?
Right.
Anything could happen.
If you would have
Steelers
told
could
me,
win by 20, they could lose by 20. It could be a 6-3 game where it's 1 score, and in those games, we probably have a better chance than if it was a high-scoring game. To be perfectly frank.
that Thursday night game's starting to get interesting. It's 63-14 now.
Hey, let's just say hypothetically, the Steelers do win this game by 20, 21 points. Are we talking Super Bowl again on Steelers Twitter?
Yes.
Some will.
I bet we are. Yeah, everything's clicking now. It's going to happen. Don't you wait. They're making a run. Just like 2005.
Before I get to predictions, how would you guys classify the young versus old Steelers fans on social media?
The young ones are dumb as fuck. That includes you two at the bottom there.
See, that's
the
why
older ones
I asked this question.
That's bullshit because we all fucking agree.
Fuck you guys. And the older ones have seen enough over a long period of time that they kind of go, okay, at some point here, I got a little bit overhyped with this. And so now I got to take a step back and kind of scrutinize my opinions before I spout off and say something fucking stupid.
I believe that a judge would have smacked me down for asking a leading question there.
You knew where I was going to go with it. Which is why you asked it.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Like I said earlier, you can tell the people that saw Kent Graham play quarterback.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm going to tell you this right now. You're old.
I'm going to tell you. Here's again.
You're old when Ben Roethlisberger makes a comment about this team, and the fans are like, "Fuck that guy! What did he ever do?"
Right.
You know what I mean? That's when you know you're old.
Right.
That's when you know you're old. Whoa! What did he ever do?
By the way, does anyone think Ben colors his beard? I think he's coloring his beard.
What are you talking about?
Roethlisberger,
man.
Oh,
yeah.
Hey, well, a bunch of white in my beard.
On that football and podcast.
I really wish my beard was gray. Like Mark's beard is cool. It's gray. I have white in my beard. That fucking sucks. White's not cool. Gray is like chrome.
I've got one little bit of grayish white hair over here on the side of my mustache, and it sucks.
Funny part is I'm 72.
I wish it was gray. The guys who have gray in their beard, I'm like, you fuckers. I'm so jealous.
Let's get to predictions before we get too far off topic.
Oh, we have a game this week, don't we?
Yeah, we do. We play on Saturday, 4:30, and everybody's favorite play-by-play guy, Rich Eisen's going to call the game. He's probably going to lecture all Steelers fans about how dumb we are for even suggesting that Mike Tomlin not be the head coach next year.
Tomlin's not going to get bounced.
No, he's not getting bounced, but Rich Eisen, just shut up. I mean, he
can't wait to hear how lucky we are to have Tomlin every quarter.
Sweet.
Anyway,
did you guys ever know that Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season? I don't know if you knew that.
I haven't heard that.
I've heard this.
Okay.
But I will research this question tomorrow.
And again, where does that always come from? The national media people. They're the ones that
Steelers
always bring it
Twitter.
up. It's the national media people.
Steelers Twitter.
Mike Tomlin, to his credit, has never said it once. He's never talked about it.
And when he's asked about it, you know what he says? I don't care.
Yes.
I want to win this game.
I want to win games. I want to win championships. I want to win
this game. I really don't care about that. I want to win this game this week.
Yes. And I love Mike Tomlin to death, but my God, just stop with anybody can be replaced.
Well, Steelers Twitter loves that. Well, I'm just saying.
Anyway.
And anybody cannot be replaced. What happens if they hired a Brandon Staley?
To do possible. What? He was not a bad defensive coordinator when he was a coordinator. To be a head coach,
he was a good defensive coordinator, and he obviously interviewed well, or he wouldn't have the fucking job.
And by the way, the Colts are coached by a rookie head coach who was with the Eagles last year. We've already lost to one rookie head coach who coached with the Eagles last year, and the guy who I still don't know his name in Arizona.
Henley.
What? Yeah.
Don Henley.
Exactly, Don Henley, and
Don
Glenn Fry is his quarterback's coach.
Were you really making that up?
What? No.
Ominous.
Ian, give me a prediction. Colts hosting the Steelers, 4:30 p.m. on Saturday, boys and girls. Saturday.
I have 39 texts that I haven't read yet. Jesus fucking Christ!
I don't get that many in a month.
You're like Taylor Swift.
What the fuck is wrong with you people, Johnny? What the fuck?
I tried to go a full show without her, but oh well.
That's my fault still.
Sorry, Scarps. That's all right.
I've got people in the chat commenting about how young I am, so it's all good.
Ian, are you actually hold it? Ian, are you younger than me or no?
I was born in '86, so I think I'm a year older than you.
I'm the fucking youngest.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
How old are you?
This is amazing.
How old are you?
I'm 36.
You're 36.
I'm 37. Yeah.
36,
Holy shit. But you know what? I'm 36 and saw Kent Graham play football. So
he's 36 in dog years. Ian, what's your prediction? I'm sorry.
Oh shit. Oh fuck. Like this just feels like the kind of game that Mike Tomlin pulls out of his ass. And we talked about this with the Ravens game earlier this year, right?
Yes.
That like they looked like shit against the Texans, and then somehow they come back and beat the fucking Ravens. That like there's no reason this team should have beat the Ravens.
Drop passes
and all that. But like this just seems like a game where I don't know if they get some turnovers or what happens. We always seem to play well in Indianapolis, which is weird. Although I will say, I don't want to put this on him because he's been our offensive MVP. Boswell in domes is not as good as he is outside. Boswell's actually a lot better kicker outside than he is in domes. Like he has missed some weird kicks in domes in his career.
Yeah, you're right.
And it makes no sense, but makes no damn sense. Compels me though. I feel like that's the meme for the whole Steelers season. It's like it makes no damn sense, but it compels me though. But this team is just playing like shit right now, and they really need to like circle the wagons and. I only have 6 children. It's not that many.
Only 12 kids so far in the McMeans brood.
Anyway.
Yes. Okay. I got to get around to a prediction here. I feel like this is just some kind of game that we pull out of our ass.
I feel like this is a recurring theme where you talk for a long, long time before your prediction and then you make a prediction.
Yes. All right. I'm going to go Steelers 20, Colts 16.
All right.
Is my pick. I do think Minshew is better than all 3 of our quarterbacks. Jonathan Taylor's not playing. Zach Moss is still pretty good. The Colts have an aggressive cover 3 defense that they run that does like to get picks and take them back to the house. Yep. If we actually had an offensive staff that could scheme a way to beat a cover 3 defense instead of just being like, we're going to run 4 verticals all day and see if you can stop it, whatever, which, it's like they're playing NCAA football 14, it's like, yeah, I'm going to run 4 verticals because there's no defense in this game that can stop this. But unfortunately, they're playing in the NFL, not a college football video game. Right. So we'll see. But yeah, I'll go Steelers 20-16.
All right, Ben, what do you got?
I got the Colts 6-3.
6-3.
Yep.
Now, a week ago I would have said that's nuts. They're playing inside, but then the Raiders just lost 3-0.
My God,
so
6-3.
Yeah. All right. Scarps, what do you got?
Might be wrong. Yeah, it could happen.
Never know.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about this team anymore. I really don't. I fully believe that this team is quit and they're done. And that's why I'm going 23-16 Colts.
Hater.
Excuse me.
I really want to think that way. There's a part of me that does that says they've quit. Doesn't matter what Tomlin says this week. Doesn't matter what is said in those meeting rooms. But it would be just like Mike Tomlin to keep this damn thing interesting right till the bitter end. So give me the Steelers. 17-14.
Well, one score game.
Yep. Oh, yeah. It's going to be one score. There's no way either team is beating the other by more than one score. I don't.
Yeah, the Steelers win by 21.
Yeah. Well,
I'll be wrong, and I'll be
okay with that.
Jig afterward.
I would love to be able to watch a Steelers game again where I can breathe in the second half. That would be thrilling.
Right?
Absolutely thrilling.
Where you're not going, why the fuck do I do this to myself?
Right. Every fucking week. Is Casey Kasem available?
Constantly and continuously.
Ladies and gentlemen, live from his grave in Hollywood, California, it's Casey Kasem.
Hey, Pino, how many Yinglings have you had since?
It's been a long day, boys. It's been a long day. Casey's Coast to Coast, American Top 40. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the week that was December 14th, 1978. Before this week's dedication, I'd like to address something. My performance over the past couple of weeks has been below the line. You see, my voice has actually been a tad bit higher than in our original programming. I know exactly why. First and foremost, I am dead. Secondly, artificial intelligence can only do so much to recreate my voice. However, that's no excuse. I will improve, and I will, because this is what we do, and this is who we are. Wow. Mike Tomlin is full of shit. Now, let's get back to this week's letter. Our favorite correspondent, Ryan, is back with us again this week, and he writes, Dear Casey, first, we was partners, then you traded. You a hoe for that. That's, of course, the lyrics to Money Man's Trading Places. Speaking of trading places, Mike Tomlin could be on his way to Washington, according to Jay Glazer. For those of you that don't know, Mike Tomlin and Jay Glazer are very close, so there's no way this was a coincidence. Tomlin has gone from calling other teams nameless gray faces to his own team being nameless gray faces, and he's also gone from calling it elevator music to actually being elevator music. That's right. Mike Tomlin is Richard Marx circa 1987. He peaked with his self-titled album, but he should have known better. With the news this week that Bill Belichick and the Patriots will part ways at the end of the season, how can you continue to justify that Mike Tomlin is the guy? The last time I checked, Tomlin didn't have 6 Super Bowls. So why does a guy that hasn't won it all since 2008 get a pass? It's almost like Yins have double vision. Well, Ryan, you're in for a treat. Before we get to the next song, keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars, falling 12 spots this week to number 29. Here's Foreigner off their album Double Vision. Off their album Double Vision. Here's Double Vision.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Double Vision Not to be confused with double vision.
Here's a guy that wrote this. Here's a guy that wrote this, Casey, during the show. Thank you very much.
Double vision is also what Ryan has had all night.
Yeah, no shit.
Well, since about 2:30 this afternoon.
About 2:30 this afternoon. Oh god,
that was good.
Good.
Also, so if anyone listening to the show is actually going to Indianapolis for the game this week, do not go to the White Castle in Indianapolis.
Why?
Ryan and I have both been there on separate occasions. I'll turn it over.
You may
to
or
Ryan.
may not get shot when you're going to that White Castle.
Really?
I'm just saying. But if you need some sliders, belly bombers, as we used to call belly bombers, it is worth the risk. But you might die. I'm just saying.
Right. You have to walk under railroad tracks, like across this stream, and somehow you wind up in this parking lot where there's this White Castle. There may be drug deals happening in that parking lot, and
listen,
why didn't you?
We're not here for schematics,
Why didn't you dumb fucks drive over there?
Ben, have you ever gone to a White Castle sober?
No.
Also,
there's your answer.
Have you ever been sober in Indianapolis and said, I'm going to take a fucking taxi or Uber to the White Castle? Like, what's the fun in that?
I have. True story. Several times have gone through the drive-thru in a Uber or taxi and bought the driver food. While I was like, hey, you want anything while we're up here?
The fact that 19 people are still listening and watching this program right now is
how do you know there are 19?
Well, I can see it on my screen.
Because he calls God.
Yeah.
You're special.
Call God.
I can't tell how many people.
Anyway, for White Castle and these three guys, we're heading on out of here. Make sure you check out the website, steelcityblitz.com, and check us out on our socials on Facebook, Instagram. Hey, even Tickety Talk, kids. That's right. We're hip. And Twitter, of course, too. But for these guys, don't forget, Steelers 4:30 on Saturday. And hey, go Steelers.
Ravens suck.